So how's camp been, man? I mean, you're in terms of your role, it seems like you've really climbed the ladder. You've been, at least these last several practices, the first team DB
Yeah.
opposite of Ro Torrance there. How's that been?
It's been feeling good. I just been, this is what I've been basically, pushing for the whole fall camp. I told myself, I got to lock in, pay attention to the small details, and just compete every day, and everything else is just gonna take care of itself. So I'm glad that my talk to myself worked out, and everything is going in my favor at the moment.
How have you seen yourself grow from the start of camp, and what do you think has, you mentioned the small details. Are there anything else that you've seen has really been able to elevate you and separate yourself?
Honestly, taking the advice from the coaches and, basically taking what the coaches are teaching us from the classroom onto the field. And that, honestly, me doing that little stuff just helped me play my best every day and took my game to the next level.
What have your conversations been like with Coach Fletcher up to this point? How has that sort of, maybe that relationship evolved? How have those talks been?
The relationship at first, it was a little shaky, but over time, me and Coach Fletcher have, gained a great relationship, and me and him, that's my guy, I ain't gonna lie, At first it was a little, like I said, a little shaky, but now that, everything is, going into play, we more, we respect each other, and he's my coach, basically.
What has sort of allowed that dynamic to grow in the way that you're saying it has?
Just being coachable, not like, I don't care, coach, just being coachable and basically taking the advice, or just, basically advice that he give us, using it in the field when we go to practice.
I know Donnie Henderson talked about really keeping the scheme the same from last year. Does that kind of help, even if you have a new defensive backs coach, that the scheme is pretty much the same?
Yes, that helps all the DBs that basically been here since AP play faster, because it's no really drop off. It's nothing really new. It's basically everything that we've been running. So I'm glad that everything it's not very hard to understand, and I'm able to just understand and just play my game.
I'm not saying you had a quiet spring, but it looks like you really stepped it up in preseason practice. Can you talk about your development?
Yeah, I honestly, like I told him, I had a talk with myself and my family, and also the coaches, just to ask them before fall camp, what do I need to work on? What do they think I need to do so I can be in the position where I'm starting? And I basically, from those conversations, took what they basically told me I needed to do and applied it to my game this fall. And now I'm in a position where I might start this Thursday.
Is that really hard to ask that question? Because it's really kind of like, feeding yourself some humble pie over here, like almost admitting like, yeah, I'm not good enough. What I need to do to be good enough? I mean, is that a hard question to ask?
Not really, because, you always want to get better at football, because there's always other people you compete with in this building and people from, other colleges. So it's not more of a, I honestly like being coach hard, and just learning on what I need to do better, so I can go to the next level and take my game to the next step.
Obviously, a defensive backs group best friend is having a really strong defensive line that's disrupting the opponent's passing game. How do you feel this defensive line is doing in that area?
Defensive line is nasty, I ain't gonna lie. I love the defensive line. They make it very easy on us, because they not giving the quarterback a lot of time, so we don't got to cover as long as, some other schools might have to cover. So I honestly love the D-line for that, That's basically it.
And what about the wide receiver group? Obviously, there's so many new faces and some players that are returning maybe haven't played that much. What are you seeing from your wide receivers?
I've seen a lot of good stuff from the receivers. Every day, we're competing. EKB, he's probably the best receiver. I've been playing with him since a little bit from 707. So I kind of seen him develop and get a lot better, and I'm happy to see where Dre is going to be. I hope Dre do his thing, because he's a good player, and he's very competitive, and he's somebody that's hard to go up against in practice every day.
Going back to some of the preparation, you mentioned having those conversations before camp had begun. Would you say you had to put some of your pride aside to really take it all in and be in the position you are right now?
Yes, I had to put my pride aside, not be emotional about it, because, I know I didn't have the best spring that I could play to. That's why, I had those conversations, and honestly, to talk with myself, and I kind of just changed the whole dynamic of this whole situation that I was in.
Is that really rewarding, to like make that big step, ask the coaches what I need to do better, and now everything looks like it's really paying off for you?
Yes.
Is that really gratifying?
Yeah, it really is gratifying. It honestly just shows that if you be patient and do what you need to do and pay attention to the little details and just basically ask questions. You can do a lot.
And that's probably just part of just the normal maturity process. What you know as a second, third year player is never going to be the same as what you didn't know as a first year player.
Yeah, I honestly have grown a lot, and the coaches have told me that I have grown and showed more maturity. Because at first, I was a little emotional when I first came in. Wasn't coachable, and just not basically just turning away from the coaching. But now I'm just accepting the coaching and asking for more help and just trying to become a better football player every day.
How does that change your expectations ahead of season opener on Thursday for the season? How does that change your expectations for this upcoming season?
I don't really got no I got high expectations for this team because I know we can do a lot, but I don't really change my expectations a lot.
So what is your mentality? Once games start going, from practice to practice, day by day.
It's gonna be just a kill mindset. Whoever's my opponent, whoever in front of me, just dominate every rep at a time, one rep at a time.
Obviously, NAU had a huge upset last year, beating U of A in Tucson. Not that you're going to overlook this opponent anyway, but is that really a very good reason not to
you
overlook?
Definitely can't look over no opponent, to be honest, because that's when they're gonna sneak up on you and take advantage and just make big plays, and then that's when just everything is gonna just go crazy. So that's why coaches have been stressing to us: don't take this game lightly, go hard every rep, so that at the end of the game, it's no surprise. It's not like we going to the locker room upset. We basically we basically got the decision that we basically was hoping to get, which is winning. So.
New defensive backs coordinator Aaron Fletcher just got in. What do you think of his mentorship to you guys, as not only person to person but as a unit?
He's honestly a great coach. He's honestly a player's coach too. He kind of asks us how we see the game, and those type of coaches is a great coach because he kind of let the players not necessarily do what they want to do, but he kind of is not a coach that you got to do what he say and that's the end of it. He's more of a how do you see things and how can he help you, and also basically be the balance point so everybody is satisfied. So that's much it.
What are some of the strengths that you feel that you bring to the field? What are some of the things that maybe are showing more now that you've sort of taken that next step?
Toughness. I can go get the ball. And just that's basically it.
Do you have any personal goals for this season for yourself as a player?
Honestly, I want to all Pac-12, some type of all Pac-12 award, and just starting to get picks, so get my hands on the ball. That's a couple goals I got.
With how things have been trending lately, I mentioned you were working with the first team these last several practices. What has Coach Fletcher mentioned or talked about perhaps in terms of how the depth chart is going to look come Thursday, or about 3 or 4 days out from the season
opener? He
opening
hasn't
now?
really mentioned anything about the depth chart necessarily. It's kind of just a moving thing every day. So kind of just got to come in and just can't come in and expect to start. Basically, you got to just if you call your name first, then you just go. You can't have high expectations because that's when you basically I can't come in expecting to start and then I basically say I go out there on Thursday and I'm not starting and I'm upset. You just don't try to basically have your expectations high so you don't get upset.
What does that do to your mentality in terms of being ready when your number's called there? Whether it's the first or the
just
second
always
time.
don't get upset about little stuff. Have a bad play or pass interference. Don't let that turn into a whole consecutive of bad plays. Just let that play go and just keep going.
Is that something that you've really had to sort of learn? Is that something that you
Yes, and
would have gotten upset about
yes.
before?
And that's something that Coach Fletcher has also stressed to the DBs that play one play at a time and don't let one negative play turn into multiple negative plays. So,
Do you have any maybe techniques that kind of allow you to kind of forget about a bad play and go on to the next play?
nah, not necessary. No.
Thanks, man.